Hey, friends. Happy Thankful Thursday. And I hope that's the mindset that you're entering to this day with. That mindset I can be thankful for my goals. I can be thankful for my dreams, but I can simply be thankful for the things I'm looking to achieve this year. Realizing that it starts with this day. Regardless of the setbacks of last week, regardless of the failures of this week, but today's a new day. Today's not only a new day, it's a new gift. It's a new opportunity to be simply thankful. It's something, there's a superpower when it comes to just gratitude. When you have gratitude in your life, when you're thankful for where you're at, you'll be thankful for where you want to be. I want to say that again. When you're thankful for where you're at through the process, you'll be thankful for where you're wanting to be at. I think we sometimes delay the being thankful through the process. I think we think, well, I'm going to be thankful for when I get to where I want to be. But you know that you could be more thankful through the process. You can have gratitude through the process. You can be joyful through the process, not letting the past hold you back, not waiting for the future in anticipation, but realizing that you can have joy now. You can have peace now. You can be simply thankful now. But that choice is yours. I want to say that again. You can be thankful now. You can have joy now. You can have peace now, despite the setbacks, despite the failures, despite not being where you want to be. You can be thankful for now, realizing that this is the road to where you want to be. This is the road to fulfilling your dreams. This is along the road to fulfilling the possibilities. This is along the road. The challenges are just the pit stops along the road. But this is not your final destination. Maybe you find yourself at this point somewhere where you don't want to be. Maybe you feel behind, but realizing that this year is not over. This day is a new day. You can start again. You can keep going. You can keep growing. But the best part is you can be thankful. You can be thankful this day knowing that the goals and your dreams are possible. And I'm super thankful to be here with you on the 26th day. This month's crazy how fast this month is going. And we're going to dive right on in to our daily positive quotation. And maybe you're wondering, Sam, what is a daily positive quotation? That's a great question. It's simply a book where it's going to give us a topic. It's going to give us a little story section. We'll have a positive thought or a positive repetitive section. And yes, friends, on the 26th day of this month, our topic today for our daily positive quotation is going to be depending on ourselves. So now we're going to go right on into our quote. Our quote says, faced with crisis, the man of character falls back on himself. I'm going to repeat that again. With our topic today being depending on ourselves, our quote says, faced with crisis, the man of character falls back on himself. He imposes his own stamp of action, takes responsibility for it, and makes it his own. And that's quoted by Charles D. Gilly. So I'm going to repeat that again to really let that sink in with our topic today being depending on ourselves. Our quote says, faced with crisis, the man of character falls back on himself. He imposes his own stamp of action, takes responsibility for it, and makes it his own. So now we're going to go right on into our story section. Our story section says, ultimately, we're responsible for what we choose to do or not to do. If we're lucky, we have great support from our friends and family, but at some point, we have to make the decision to take responsibility for them. The right or the wrong is up to us. We take a deep breath, consider and advise the advice we've been given, draw on it with our experience, and do what we think is best of the things that work out. We are relieved. If they don't, we accept responsibility and move on. Isn't that powerful? I really love that. So now we're going to go right on into our positive thought or our positive repetitive section. It says, I get lots of advice and support, but I recognize that in the end, it's up to me to make the major decisions in my life. Isn't that powerful? I'm going to repeat that again. It says, I get lots of advice and support, but I recognize that in the end, it's up to me to make a major decision in my life. Isn't that true so far? And that I want you to think about your year this far, that you are ultimately the person making the decisions in your life, regardless of everybody's actions, regardless of everybody's limitations. But it comes down to you are making the decisions. You are the person who has gotten you as far as you are this year so far. But I really love with our topic today being depending on ourselves. I love how that quote starts off. I love how the quote says, faced with crisis, the man of character falls back on himself. I want you to hear that again. Faced with crisis, the man, I'm going to say that the man or woman falls back on themselves. And I want you to think about some of the crises this year. Maybe some of the setbacks you've had this year. Maybe some of the failures, right? When you think about it, who did you fall back on? Did you let somebody else take the blame? Did you let your past history take the blame? Do you find yourself pushing it on others, the failures? But realizing, I love how it says, taking ownership of where you're at. I think there's a powerful thing that comes when you decide that it's on me. Because I feel like it's those times when I really start to put it on myself. It gives me the power to change it. I think it's simply when we give we take the responsibility and give it to somebody else, we're giving the power away. We're giving the power to change our situation. We're giving the power to get us, to that next level. But really, when you take the power back, when you take ownership and you put it on yourself, and I love how it says this, he imposes his own stamp of action and takes responsibility for it. Are you imposing your own stamp of action, or are you waiting for someone else to move? I think that's a great question of clarity this year. Are you stepping outside and doing the work it takes to change your life instead of depending on somebody else? Are you putting your stamp of action towards your goal? Are you putting your stamp of action towards your dreams? Are you doing what it takes to be successful and finish this year strong? But I love how it talks about that. Even though with your taking action, are you taking responsibility? So, man, I really love that. I love that with action comes responsibility. I believe that action is responsibility in motion. I want you to hear that again. Action is responsibility in motion. It's when you start doing the work and doing what it takes, you're taking responsibility of the situation, not talking about it, not thinking about it, but you take real responsibility when you start to take action. I really love how it says in this story, it says, ultimately, we're responsible for what we choose to do and not to do. Isn't that true? That ultimately, that's it. It's up to you. You ultimately are responsible for what you do and choose not to do. And maybe you find yourself a little scared in that situation, like I did myself. I realized that, man, so I want to be here, but am I doing what it takes and taking the responsibility to get myself there? It's not saying you can't lean on people to help you, but realizing that in the day, it's up to you. It's up to you to ask the person for help. It's up to you to put in the work. It's up to you to show up when you need to. It's up to you to make it happen. At the end of the day, it's up to you to decide. And I love how it says, if we're lucky, we have a great support from friends and family. But at some point, we have to make the decision to take responsibility for them. Right or wrong, it's up to you. We take a deep breath, consider the advice we've been given, draw on our experience, and do what we think's best if things work out. If they don't, we accept responsibility. Isn't that true? That regardless of all the advice we could take, we usually draw back to our past experiences when it comes to our final decision, right? Think about all the setbacks, all the failures along the way, the mistakes that you've been through. You don't want to, obviously, we're not trying to repeat the same mistakes. So we always lean on our own understanding. I think it's a great tool, and you're lucky if you have that support from your family and friends. That's truly a gift. The people that you can lean on and depend on and ask those questions. But even if you have that support group from your family and your friends, at the end of the day, it's still up to you. You have to take responsibility of the results in your life. And the best thing that's so powerful is that when you take responsibility and you take ownership, you really take control of your life. I think that's the power of when you start to take accountability for the things you're looking to achieve this year. We start to take responsibility. It's really simply taking ownership of your life, realizing that you can be the director of your life. So you're really never stuck unless you give the control away. And it's simply by giving responsibility to others is that we give away control. When we give our responsibility to others, we give away the ownership of our lives. I really love how it talks about in that positive repenting section. It says, I get a lot of advice and support. And now with chat GPT and all this technology, we can get all the advice we need and support we need, right? Even crazy with the technology but I recognize that in the end, it's up to me to make the major decisions in my life. I want to repeat that again. It's up to me to make the major decisions of your life. I want to say that again. That's the gift that we have this day. Maybe we find ourselves, I think we find ourselves, we have 98 days of this year and it's over. 98 days. This can be the day. Maybe you haven't found yourself really taking responsibility for where you're at. Maybe you've given your power away this year, leaning on someone else's understanding and not leaning on your own. Maybe you find yourself limiting yourself in places, giving your responsibility, pointing the finger of where you're at on somebody else. I want to challenge you today to not only take responsibility, but to take ownership today. To take ownership of your future, to take ownership of your past, but realizing that change starts with you. Starts with you deciding that you can take responsibility. Starts with you deciding that I can change my life. Starts with you showing up even when it gets hard. But I'm super thankful on this Thursday. Make this the Thursday where everything changes because you decide to change. You decide to show up stronger. You decide to show up wiser, but you decide to take responsibility.